Suzy Wrong, Joy Drive's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
Suzy Wrong, welcome back.
Thank you. It's such an honour and privilege to be here with you on a Tuesday afternoon.
Have you got a pump-up song?
Yes.
What is it?
When I need to get myself pumped up, I listen to Japanese pop stars from the 80s.
Oh,
really like cutesy pop tunes.
Cool.
Do you know what's really
puts me in a positive mood.
What's really interesting about that, because I go skiing in Japan, on each of the, the chairlift, they have these loudspeakers, those typical old cone speakers that you see everywhere, and they play Japanese pop through it, and sometimes they're the older tunes. And I tell you what, after 2 weeks of riding those chairlifts, I don't know what they're saying, but I can sing them, the catchy, because they're so catchy, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really catchy. They're really upbeat. They're all about, like bright and happy. I love that.
Absolutely. Now, you certainly make us bright and happy here at Joy Drive, Suzy, and it is always a pleasure to do our homework. So what were we tasked with this week?
The film title is Under My Skin. It is an Australian film, although it's shot and set in Los Angeles. It is the love story between Denny and Ryan, a young couple who meet in a bar one night, like millions have done before. Where the story turns interesting is when Denny, a musician and painter, begins their exploration of gender, soon after moving in with the straight-laced lawyer Ryan. We watch Denny trying to come to terms with their own gender identity and evolving gender expressions, with Ryan on the side trying to keep up with the turmoil and upheaval taking place at home. It is noteworthy that 4 different non-binary actors play Denny in an unusual, although not unprecedented, casting decision. Under My Skin is written and directed by David O'Donnell, who says that although a work of fiction, the film is inspired by his relationship with Rhiannon O'Keefe, one of the film's producers, who had transitioned whilst they were together. I enjoyed that the depiction of Denny's transition and their relationship with Ryan. I enjoyed that it is uncompromisingly complex. It feels authentic to me, the way that journey is not simple and not linear. The performances are great, as are the writing and direction. It looks and feels very low budget though, but the thoughtfulness of everything involved makes up for it. Under My Skin is streaming now on Stan. Em Warren, it's very informative, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I found that it certainly took me, I say this a lot about some of the things that you assign us, Suzy, but it certainly took me on a journey, at the very beginning with the opening scenes second to the opening scenes in the bar. I was really upset with the way that the conversations were happening between all of the lawyers in the bar. And that really made me feel really uncomfortable. And then you go through a lot of, I think, really quite strong emotive and emotion inducing scenes and sentiments and journeys throughout the whole film. So it certainly made me feel a lot, I guess, is what I would say.
A emotion.
In a nutshell.
I reckon, I must admit though, Em and Suzy, I don't know what you thought of it. I found the 4 different actors really confusing. I really did. I think I was watching it and I thought, is this about, is he a serial relationship person, or I didn't even realise that it was the same character going through it. And through the whole thing. And it wasn't until later on that I realised, and I thought, I found that, it was great that they were casting trans and gender diverse and non-binary characters with people, I suppose, who have lived experience of it. But for me, 4 playing the same character just confused me and killed it a little bit.
What did you think of that choice, Suzy?
I knew exactly what they were doing, because coming from where I come from, I always think, how do you cast trans actors in films like that, showing their different stages of transition? Because if you're going to ask me to show you what I looked like 20 years ago, no amount of money is gonna make me do that. So the idea that they found 4 people who looked, slightly different to sort of signal to you on what they might have looked like at this stage, what might have looked like at that stage. I thought that was a good move. And, there were some bits where Denny had to sort of femme up a little bit to, for the lawyer office party. Those are things that can be quite sensitive to, quite challenging to some actors. So I guess, I understood what they were doing.
Yeah, maybe if I read sort of what was happening before, I might have understood it. I just found that it didn't allow, for me anyway, the character to really develop. And then I found I had to reset to a different actor. And because I was thinking, hang on, is this the same character? Yes, it is. Or have we just changed time? We've gone forward in time or back in time, and it's with another relationship. And I think that's where I was getting confused.
I did think that the lead characters, sort of the lead actors, weren't able to sort of build a very strong chemistry throughout. I felt like, that the male actor, was sort of stronger with one of the actors, and the other three actors felt a bit like they were going through the motions a little bit. I did sense that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably would have been difficult to, because, there is that on-screen chemistry that is developed over time and when you're on the set for an elongated period of time. So they wouldn't have had the same amount of time together to form that connection that you would then hope that translates throughout the film.
Mm.
Yeah, it's interesting that what it says about how, a person's appearance can change so much. Obviously, it looks like it's such an extreme move that, and, at one stage, the actor becomes a black actor. But I guess for many of us, I don't know, the way I see myself, it's like two completely different people, and probably many people in between as I was going through those years, and I don't know what it looks like to people around me. And it's interesting to look at it and think, oh, maybe that's what this director, this filmmaker saw when he was living with someone who was going through those changes.
I think you're both right, though. The struggles were very authentic, weren't they? And it came across that way. I mean, Denny's anger and frustration towards Ryan as, he struggled, I guess, with their changing identity as well. And also, their struggles that they went through, and particularly, we've got the partner dinner as well, and what a horrible thing to go through if you're in that space.
Yeah, it felt really genuine. I felt like they didn't have to explain a lot in terms of dialogue. You kind of saw what these actors were going through in quite personal spaces, and I appreciated that. But I won't be surprised if it resonates more with me because of my sort of proximity to the material.
But I do think that is really telling, though. That you have an understanding of that lived experience, and it actually connected on a level that you can really connect with. I think that they obviously did make the right choices for a lot of the moments and for the journey of the film, because you have lived experience. So really, your experience of the film is probably the most valuable, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. When I started watching the film, I was very skeptical about the film being written and directed by a person who looks like a cis straight man. I thought, this is 2022. It kind of isn't your place to tell the story.
Yeah.
And then, but after, I saw the film and I was very won over. And then I checked out a few sort of interviews on YouTube, found that he actually has the lived experience of being so intimate with someone who was going through those changes, and offered, and I felt like, it was appropriate that he was offering a perspective that actually to me is very valuable, because I know what I felt, I know what I went through, but it was interesting to see how people around react to it, and I guess there isn't very much material around that tells you that.
Yeah,
we are talking about Under My Skin, which is currently streaming on Stan. Suzy, how did you feel? Did you feel empathy towards both of the main characters, being Ryan and Denny? How did you feel?
I did. I think a lot of it was in the performance. I think Ryan was a hard role to play because he's sort of like, and the film did start, like Em said, almost like an American Psycho tribute at the start, where they're, really horrible, young male lawyer. And you're thinking, oh no, I don't want to go through that kind of, trauma watching a film like that. But actually,
I was a little terrified that it was.
Yeah. Yeah. But actually, I thought the performances were great. It was sensitive, and, it wasn't overwrought in any way, and they really won me over. I ended up liking the film a lot more than I thought initially.
What did you think of the ending? I found the ending to be a little bit predictable and abrupt.
Yeah, I don't know how else you would end it, because otherwise it'll just look. So I guess it.
Sorry, Suzy, you just cut out for a second there.
Turned into a Dalek.
Oh, here?
You're back now.
Yep, you're back.
Okay, yeah. I didn't think it was abrupt. I thought it was quite a mild ending that sort of felt true to not everything ends in in explosions.
Yeah, true. Or in like a really happy ending. you know?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
that was kind of like just life goes on. That ending is kind of just life goes on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
And I love watching a non-binary trans person. To me, it's very educational because, you know, I guess, you know, I'm from a generation where things are very binary. And then when you're talking about trans identities, it is almost too clean and too simple. The information that we had all these years, but now there's a new generation of people who are embracing, you know, ideas of non-binary, and within that, all the different variations. And I loved being able to watch the 4 actors sort of express their experience of what it is to be non-binary. I thought I found that very, very rich and informative.
I like the way you look at it. It was 4 actors representing, I suppose, different stages as well. Whereas I was looking at more as getting confused as to why have you got 4 different actors for the same character.
We understand that Warren didn't get it.
I didn't get it. It is called Under My Skin. It is streaming on Stan. Suzy, what's our homework for next week?
Next week, it's called Somebody Somewhere. It is a new American comedy series about a woman mourning the death of her lesbian sister and the queer community that helps her get through it. It features one of the most wonderful, whimsical gay characters you'll ever see, and you can catch it now on Binge. Somebody Somewhere.
Somebody Somewhere on Binge. Suzy, great to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
We'll let you get back to your 80s J-pop.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Suzy. Bye.